What is going on, guys? It's TwoSixNine here, and I'm back with another episode of TwoSixNine Talks. And in this week's episode, we're actually talking about some games. Yay! So in this week's episode, we're talking about games from Gamescom and anything that I kind of really found exciting out of Gamescom for that week. This is purely opinion based. If you are excited for some games, then throw them down in the comments below and make a list of your own games that you're really excited for. But I'm going to talk about the games that I found most exciting, which is a mishmash of a load of games from different genres, so stay tuned and you'll get to find out which ones. So firstly, one of the biggest announcements out of Gamescom was the fact that Microsoft actually showed off some Crackdown gameplay and the tech demos that we saw previously from all the Braille conferences, flashback to last year, should be appearing on screen right now. Where they showed off kind of this tech demo where the buildings were blowing up and stuff was going on everywhere. Was actually real, and they've actually implemented it in a game, or the multiplayer mode. We don't know what's happening with the single player mode in Crackdown. They've actually implemented it in a multiplayer, and you're going to be able to blow up the whole city, 100% destructibility, and topple buildings and blow up cars and do all that craziness. So I'm super excited to see how this actually works out in terms of gameplay and the multiplayer thing. If someone's standing in a building, if you can blow them up. But the tech demo looks really cool. The graphics didn't look cool. It was still in the kind of stylized manner that Crackdown has, but blowing up stuff and just toppling buildings was something that we haven't really seen in games before. We've seen it a little bit in like Red Faction, Guerrilla, scripted moments in like Call of Duty, but the dynamicness of it all in Crackdown, in the Crackdown demo, just looked insane. So I'm super excited to see how that pans out. They've got transforming cars back. Yes, transforming cars. Damn, son, I'm just ready for transforming cars. If you don't know, in Crackdown 1 you could transform your car and drive up a building. What more do you need? Damn, son. So next up, we actually had Lara Croft back in Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raiders, Tomb Raiders Rising Planets and stuff. But it looked really cool. I wasn't really sold on it before the release of a gameplay video that they actually released yesterday. It should be in the description box below, and I'm playing on the screen right now. And this gameplay video really sells it to me. Like, before I was like, it just looks like the original, the reboot plus. But this actually, in terms of graphics and everything, looked really, really nice, and I'm definitely sold on what they're doing here for gameplay mechanics. They showed some of the tomb raiding in the Tomb Raider. I know, it's crazy, right? They actually showed some tomb raiding, but this looks so kind of what I was expecting from a Tomb Raider. I didn't really get it that much in the first game, but the direction that they're actually pulling it now looks very, very good and very, very promising. So I'll definitely be picking this up this year if you have an Xbox One, and next year if you have a PS4 or PC. So it looks really cool. Click on the video down below if you want to see more of that and more awkward situations with Lara just screaming her head off in pain for no, well, I'm not going to say no reason, but there is a definite reason, but just over the top. EA, you had Mirror's Edge 2. This game, I was a fan of the original Mirror's Edge. The flow and the mechanics of it all, just jumping off, running off walls, kicking guys in the face. It looks like DICE have actually fixed a lot of the problems with it and how flowy it kind of felt. It's got an actual narrative now. It's going to be in an open world. It's going to have a complete mission structure. I'm hoping it's going to have some multiplayer in there where you can race through the city with your friends. They haven't really mentioned that, or I haven't really seen anything on that. If you do know, then definitely comment down below and I'll look into that more. But running through the city with friends will be great online, but the single player itself just looks great. The graphics and the art style of it, I always like this kind of minimalistic art style that they had going on in Mirror's Edge. Hopefully they can get the theme tune back. I really did love the theme tune for that, and the game really plays well in terms of just being really niche in this genre and kind of fulfilling a need of just being a badass parkour guy. Yeah, guy. So I'm really excited to actually play that and see what the actual mechanics of the whole game are in terms of from start to end, and if it doesn't get too repetitive. I always like sliding down buildings in my bum. What can I say? The next thing I wanted to talk about was Scalebound. this game looked really janky on stage, and it wasn't until actually Arekkz came back from his trip from Gamescom and started kind of laying out what the game is about, because I thought going in that it was going to be some action RPG. I'm going to be flipping around like Bayonetta, kicking up things and just like, but it's not like that. It's more of, well, it's sort of like that, it's semi like that. It's kind of a hybrid between genres, so it's a hybrid between Monster Hunter, it's a hybrid between Bayonetta, it's got RPG elements, so think Final Fantasy and other RPGs that I can't remember at the moment, but it's got all those stuff kind of mixed up into one kind of game where you can explore an open world with a dragon. Like, what do you need? It's a dragon. Like, dragons are just dragons. Everybody needs a dragon in their game. There's a whole dragon age, so dragons gonna be cool, and the fact that you can customize your character to get new abilities, and it's 4-player co-op. That's the biggest selling point of it all. You're gonna be able to play an RPG, which we've never really had. Like, well, we've had them in like a reduced state, White Knight Chronicles and stuff like that, but play an RPG from start, hopefully to finish, with co-op partners and explore the world. It's gonna be sick. I'm ready for that. The fact that you're gonna be able to customize your armor as well makes it kind of like Monster Hunter. I can see people going hunting for specific monsters to get specific parts and going back to stuff. So yeah, I'm ready for that game, and hopefully you are too. Yeah. I am a massive Metal Gear Solid fan, but I haven't really been on board with Metal Gear Solid 5 because it looks a lot like Peace Walker, and Peace Walker for me was, while it was a really cool game and really cool concept, it really didn't really feel like the linear game that I found Metal Gear Solid always was. So it wasn't until last week when they showed off the Mother base gameplay and they showed how other people can come into your base and invade you, and you have to build up your core structure of your base and kind of set it up with defenses and stuff, that I was really sold on the idea of Metal Gear Solid 5. I really like the Vault and stuff and all that other stuff, kind of that micromanaging of bases and resources that you have to do, but I wasn't really sold on the game. I was excited for it, but I wasn't excited like I really should be as someone that's a proper fan of the Metal Gear Solid series. So once they showed that Mother base stuff last week, which should be, I'll link in the description box below so you can watch the full demo. It's half an hour, it's a long video, but watch it guys if you're like got any interest in the game at all, and you're going to see some really cool stuff in there where someone comes into the base, he's using optical camouflage to kind of get past, and it's like a 1v1 situation in a multiplayer mode, so anybody can invade your base that you build up, and you kind of get resources. They can come along and steal all your stuff and you got to defend it. It's really cool. I don't know how annoying it's going to get if you're out on a mission and then everybody's invading your base every 2 seconds, but the concept of it is really cool. It's kind of like an infinite amount of bases that you can infiltrate for Metal Gear, and that kind of extends its longevity. And plus on top of that, you've got Metal Gear Online. The game is looking real nice. I'm excited for it, guys. So as you know, if you don't know, I'm a massive racing game fan. I've worked on not all the Forzas, but I've worked on Forza for ages now while I was at Microsoft, and now that I finally left Microsoft, I'm still interested. It's very rare that actually when you're working on a game that you'll like it by the end, and that's the reason that Quantum Break's not in it, because that was my last project that I worked on before I left Microsoft. That doesn't mean that the game is bad, it just means that I got bored of it, because it's a quite a single player game and you just play through how many times. I think I've finished that game like more than 100 times. Imagine that. You kind of get bored of it, so it doesn't mean that the game is bad or anything, and it's not my impressions or anything. It's just literally that once you play for a game too many times, you get bored of it, right? But Forza, because it's a car racing game and you race cars, you don't really get bored of it if you have an interest in cars. So I'm seeing Forza, seeing Need for Speed, and those look really cool. The Need for Speed stuff, they showed off these really cheesy F&B sequences, but if you've ever played Need for Speed Most Wanted on the 360 when that released, it had some really cool cheesy F&B sequences that kind of build up a story and narrative. In this one, it looks like you're impressing different crews and you're going to be doing different stuff, and you can race the way that you want, which is something, a kind of marketing tagline that the racing game companies are using at the moment to kind of get you into buying the games. Race the way that you want. You can race the car. You can flip it upside down. You can not play the game if you want to, as long as you just buy it. But I'm really excited to see what happens with this new Need for Speed, because it's got that whole underground kind of vibe going off, and it has some really good tunes. If you ever played Need for Speed Underground, then you'll know about the tunes. Because it had 24 cars and clothes, this is how my body rolls. I don't know the lyrics, but it has some really, really good tunes in the original series that kind of really stuck with me for ages. Kind of like GTA in respect to where the soundtrack's contemporary music, and it kind of just makes you make your own playlist for your mobile phone, and you just listen to it all the time. For Forza, they didn't really show much. They showed some new stuff. They showed like a new trailer for like racing in the rain and stuff like that. But one thing is, it comes out next month. I am going to be playing a lot of it because I've obviously worked on it a lot. Hopefully I'm going to be streaming it a lot and putting it on the Arekkz Gaming Twitch channel, so stay tuned to that. If you haven't followed, then follow that down in the description box below. It should be a link there. And I'm going to be putting up streams. Even if one person watches me race, I'm going to try and bring how intense like Forza can actually be and how great the races can be. Hopefully they got some like mode where you can watch the races as well and maybe comment on them, kind of like they do with F1, because that'd be cool. But mostly it's going to be me racing in races and stuff like that, so I am excited for that. So the last thing I want to know from you guys is, what games are you excited for coming out this year and next year, and if you're going to buy a new console or a second console, which one is going to actually be. So definitely leave a comment down below and I'll try and respond to all of the comments if possible. But thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.
Crackdown 3 is set in a dangerous new city. A once glistening metropolis overrun by violent crime.